When government embarked on promoting electricity generation, even private investors called off-grid suppliers were encouraged. Now, government is spreading its own power in initiatives like rural electrification and the free electricity connection policy. So what will happen to the private off-grid investors when government power arrives?
Will we go into an agreement to discuss on how, because finally the grid may arrive when it is highly subsidized and maybe the tariff has to go low. What are those modalities?
Assisted by Power Africa and USAID, government has come up with a legal framework to help resolve these issues.
The critical aspect here is to have a mechanism for both parties to be made whole financially, right? You can't be compelled to interconnect to the grid without a way that our investors are sort of, being allowed to make the same return that they would have otherwise had we been allowed to operate independently, right? And I think there's multiple examples, mostly in Nigeria and in other parts in West Africa where this has been done very successfully, where the larger utility often has no or has less of an interest in serving the sort of off-grid populations that we work with. And so they're oftentimes very happy to leave it to the mini-grid companies to serve and work with those communities while providing the additional power that the developer may need.
Because off-grid power investors are typically private, they need assurance that they'll get their money back, and a guiding legal framework is indispensable on how to interact with government's own parallel developments. Speaking of the power sector in this case, Christine Kasemire, NTV Business.